Hi, my name is Susie, and I'm your community health nurse, and I'm here at your TOPS meeting to give you some tips to help with some information you all received from your doctor. From what I understand, you all just went to the new community clinic and were told news none of us wants to hear, that we are overweight and we have high blood pressure. The clinic recommended you come here, and I'm glad to see you. You have made a great first step in your journey to better health. TOPS is a great organization. TOPS stands for Take Off Pounds Sensibly and is a low-cost weight loss program that is here to help you learn about healthy eating, exercise, and behavior modification. Like today, they occasionally offer informational sessions, and they are a great source of support. Your healthcare provider used your body mass index, or BMI, to determine if you were overweight. A BMI is a number calculated based on your weight and height and gives your doctor a general idea where you stand weight-wise. It does have limitations, however, like as in the case of a bodybuilder who's very heavy because of muscles, but not fat. So they're heavy, but they don't have fat. So when it comes right down to it, being overweight means you have too much body fat. So what are the risks of being very overweight or being overweight? Well, there are many, such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. It causes 1 in 5 deaths in the United States, which is almost as many as smoking, which is just too high. So how does a person become overweight? There are some reasons that are beyond a person's control, of course, but for the most part, it's caused by consuming more calories than we burn off, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Two of the more serious consequences of being overweight that we'll go over today are high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. A normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. The top number is systolic and the lower number is diastolic. An elevated blood pressure is 120 to 129 over 80. The top to 120 over 129 is systolic. Stage 1 high blood pressure is 130 to 139 systolic over 80 to 89 diastolic. Stage 2 high blood pressure is greater than 140 systolic or greater than or equal to 90 diastolic, and a hypertensive crisis is greater than 180 systolic and or greater than 120 diastolic. And if this number ever comes up, you need to call 911. This is a very, very dangerous situation. So there are serious consequences of just high blood pressure, and they develop silently over time, and that's why sometimes you hear it called the silent killer. And if you don't detect high blood pressure in time, it can lead to a heart attack, stroke, heart failure, kidney disease, vision loss, chest pain, and even sexual dysfunction. These are all good reasons to get your blood pressure checked often, and if you have high blood pressure, take your medication regularly, and an even better reason to lose weight. The second consequence of being overweight that we're talking about today is type 2 diabetes. Diabetes is characterized by high levels of glucose or sugar in the blood, and this is a result or a defect in insulin production, insulin action, or both. Type 2 diabetes is diagnosed in many ways. 3 ways are A1C, you've heard that on commercials, gotta ride the motors, lawnmower, oral glucose tolerance test, and a fasting blood glucose test. Has anyone here ever had any of these tests? And I'm glad to see many of you have. Are you at risk for prediabetes? Let's take a look at the prediabetes risk test in your TOPS book. So you can see from this book that one of the first risks is how old you are, and that's just unfortunate, but as we get older, we're at higher risk. The second one is, are you a man or a woman? So sorry, guys. If you're a woman, did you have gestational diabetes when you were pregnant? If your mother, father, sister, brother had diabetes, that's a risk factor. And have you ever been diagnosed with high blood pressure? So unfortunately, we're all here with that, so that's a point. Are you physically active? That's going to be important. And what is your weight category? So you add those up, and at the bottom of the page, it explains how you read that. So why does being overweight make you at risk for prediabetes or diabetes? Well, it's not necessarily really known, but what we do know is that you can lower your risk for type 2 diabetes by almost 60% by doing 2 things. First one is lose 7% of your body weight. For example, if you weigh 200 pounds, lose 15 pounds. And the second is exercise moderately for 30 minutes 5 times a week. That's not as hard as it sounds. So don't worry if you can't get to your ideal body weight. That's not the priority right now. It's just losing those 10 to 15 pounds can make a huge difference. So diet and exercise, that's why we're here, right? Well, the TOPS is your program, and they'll be up here shortly to help you, but I have some tips for you. So simply put, as we already discussed, losing weight is expending more energy than we take in. We want to eat less calories than we burn, but for that reason, we want those calories to be good and healthy. So that's lean proteins that have been baked or broiled and not fried or cooked in butter. And so if you need to do healthy fats such as olive oil instead of butter. Eat plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, snacks instead of processed foods, and exercise. That doesn't mean you have to go out and run a marathon. I'm talking about working up to those 30 minutes. Start by walking out to that mailbox instead of sending your kids. And go out to the mailbox and come back, and then as you get good at that, walk to the corner and back, and then add more and more till you get to that 30 minutes. You can also try biking if you like to ride a bike. I provided a link on the page that was given to you with your TOPS book to some menus and different cuisines that you can pick from. If you don't have access to the link, if you can't do that, ask your kids. If you don't have access to the computer, then some of the members of the TOPS program can help you. I've enjoyed talking with you today, and I wish you luck on your journey.